Hi, welcome to the Sales Strategies for Christian Coaches podcast. I'm Justin Janowski, your host, and I'm the founder of Faith to Influence. I started my business in December of 2018, just hoping to make it as a coach. I thought if I could earn 60 grand in my first year, I'd be okay. And God provided way beyond what I could have imagined. I collected over $250,000 in year one, and I started working with Christian coaches specifically because I recognized that some of the things I knew how to do, sales, business design, pricing, offers, these things that felt natural and easy to me based on my previous experience felt really heavy, really difficult to most Christian coaches. And so that's what we help you with at Faith to Influence and in this podcast specifically, how to design the right offers, how to make sure that you're running the right business, one that you love and want to be in forever, how to make sure that you have the right mindset around sales and money, and helping you with high integrity, high converting sales strategies. That's what this podcast is all about. And today we're actually talking about one of our 10 steps in our sales process, and it's called potential futures. If you haven't yet gotten our 10-step PDF, we have all of this written out for you. So you don't have to take notes while you're listening. You can get the PDF at www.goodsalespdf.com. It's going to lay out all 10 steps for you in written form. But today I'm going to zero in on step number 8, which is potential futures. When we're getting to potential futures, we've just talked about the vision of what somebody really wants, and we've narrowed in on the gap. And so if you've been following along with the sales process and you've got our PDF, you know that we go from discovery, the present and the past. What is this person experience that's led them to where they're at today in their marriage or their health or their business or their marketing or their sales, or whatever it is you help people with? What has helped them get to where they're at right now, point A? And then we understand with vision where they're going. What's point B look like? And we have to start to ask the question in the gap of like, what's the difference between where they're at and where they're going? What's the biggest problem or challenge that stands in the way that needs to be conquered for them to achieve their goals, their dreams, to fulfill that vision for their marriage, their health, their business, their life, etc. And so if we now know what the biggest problem is that stands in the way, potential futures is a critically important step to helping people uncover the leverage that already exists inside of them to make a massive change in their business, their life, their relationships, etc. The truth is, human nature is not to change. Human nature is to take the path of least resistance. Human nature is to survive. Our brains were designed to keep us alive, to help us survive. We've got this great survival instinct. And surviving means staying in the cave, not going out, right? It's dangerous out there, or it can be. And so for most of us, we will repeat the same patterns every single day in our behaviors and the same patterns every single day in our thought processes. We've got soundtracks running on repeat over and over and over, as John Acuff would say. And if that's true, the question is, how can we overcome our human nature that wants to remain comfortable and safe and the same? Because coaching, the whole point of coaching is not to be comfortable, safe, and the same. It's to actually experience transformation and growth that leads us to a different state of being, a different life experience, a different level of impact, a different level of relationship, health, fitness, business success, etc. Coaching is not safe. Receiving coaching and trying to change and transform and grow is unsafe. It requires us stepping outside of our comfort zone. This is the gift that we give to people. And if we want people to overcome their human nature and take massive action and create change and transformation, we need to help them uncover the leverage they have inside of themselves to create that change. And part of that means not just like having a sales process that's features and benefits about what we can give them, but asking real questions to help them understand what's at stake for them. And that's what we do in potential futures. We've now identified where they're at, where they want to go, the problem that they must solve to get there. The question then becomes, how long have you been facing that problem? So if somebody says, oh, if we could just get over conflict better in my marriage, like if we could have conflict resolution feel easier, I know that we'd have a significantly better marriage, a significantly healthier marriage. Then the question becomes, how long have you been struggling with conflict resolution? Oh my gosh, our entire marriage. 10 years. Wow, that's a long time to be facing that problem. And in potential futures, we're going to ask, what if they don't solve the problem? And what if they do? Now, this is important. This is actually loving. People can experience the pain of not solving a problem over the course of the next 5 years slowly. So slowly at times that they don't realize how painful it is until they reach the destination of divorce, health problems, a business that has to close down, etc. Like in whatever area you coach people in, like the end outcome, if a problem goes unsolved, can be really significant. And they might slowly walk that path, or we can give them 5 minutes to consider that path now in such a way that allows them to say, enough of this, as Tony Robbins would say, enough of this. And like to end the problem, to solve it now, to recognize the value and the importance of this so that they don't have to walk that slow road. That's the gift that we want to give people, whether they hire us or not. Help them recognize and wake up and change now, transform now so that they can have what they want, become who God created them to become, and have a better and more meaningful life. And so this is the gift that we're going to give them in potential futures. Okay, how long have you been facing that conflict resolution problem in your marriage? 10 years. Ooh, that must have felt so heavy. I'm so sorry to hear that you've been facing that. Let me ask you this question. What would the consequence be of 10 more years of that problem going unsolved, of the same patterns around conflict that you've had over the last 10 years? You can imagine that people can feel the weight of that question, and it might be, I don't know if we'll make it 10 more years. Tell me more about that. I feel exhausted in these situations, and they're becoming more and more frequent. What is the other consequence of this? Well, our kids get to be in the environment where they're seeing all this fighting and our raised voices, and it's scary to them, and I don't like that either. I feel that. Thank you so much for sharing. Then the other side of this is really exciting. So, okay, on the flip side, what if you solve this one problem? What if conflict in your relationship, instead of pulling you apart, brought you together? What if you had strategies and mindsets around conflict resolution that were completely transformed, and you began to respond to conflict as a married couple in a way that was really loving, really soft, really honorable, and helped you strengthen your relationship with every conflict? What would be possible for your marriage then? Oh my gosh, anything. Yeah. Specifically though, what would be possible? I bet we could have so much more joy and so much more fun together. We'd probably get back to more affection and more love, and things would just feel easier and lighter. Oh my gosh, that sounds amazing. What would that do for your kids to show them that model for conflict resolution? It would make things so much better for them too. Yeah, and how do you think they'd respond to conflict in their relationships if they saw mom and dad responding like that? Yeah, this sounds really important. That's the conversation in potential futures before we get to the place of inviting them to commit to solving this problem. And if we can go through this kind of process and they can understand what's at stake, which they know, deep down somewhere inside, we're not telling them, we're asking. They know the potential challenge, pain, consequence of not solving the health problem. They know the consequence of not working on this marriage problem or not solving this key thing in their business, but they want to ignore it, avoid it, pretend it's not happening because, again, they want to stay safe. They want to be comfortable. Actually taking the problem head on feels dangerous, feels scary, feels big. But if we can help them understand how much is at stake in slowly avoiding this problem and how much they could gain if they were to solve it, it will help them make a commitment to change, to transformation, to solving the problem, which opens up a whole new world for them, can literally change their life. This is what coaching is, by the way. You can do the same thing on a coaching call that you would do in a sales call. Now, if they commit to solving the problem after this great potential futures conversation, and they decide that they can't hire you for whatever reason, they can't afford you, it's not the right time, and you're not the right coach for them, whatever the reason is, as long as they're committed enough to solving the problem and they go do that, isn't that what we're after anyways? It can still be a really impactful moment for them. And it can be an expression of you playing out the role that God set you on as a coach. Now, the truth is, though, if we do this well and we're on calls with ideal clients, many of them are going to be ready to receive our help to solve the problem. This is potential futures. It takes more energy and boldness in sales for you to engage in this step of the process, and it's critically important and super valuable for both sides. I hope you'll engage in this, have fun having real, meaningful conversations that change lives. God bless you all. I'll talk to you more soon.